Hello, Bigfoot enthusiast. Scott here from Squatch America.
And Hannah, domestic goddess, chief cook, and doggy mama here in the paddy wagon. And I realized something absolutely horrible tonight.
Horrible.
Horrible. You're supposed to say, what was that, honey?
What was that, honey?
I don't possess a single bit of Christmas attire. No ugly sweaters, no blinking baseball caps, not even a scarf. And so, Merry Christmas from me and my one pair of Christmas tree earrings.
That's it.
That's all I got. This is kind of our Christmas show because we will not be having a show next week on Christmas. Just so y'all know.
Just so y'all know.
We're going to be kicking it up at the Golden Corral. Because that's how we do things at Squatch America.
Yeah. Intro. All right, we got a great show for you tonight. We got a good interview coming up, and I want to say hi to everybody who's filling up the chat right now.
We got Dirtbag in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, I love that name,
Yep.
Dirtbag.
Finding the trackway.
We got Eyes in the Woods, Michelle, Doc Off, Sup, Squatch Bag. Sharon and Raptor and Gordon. And Sasquatch crew, famous people.
All right.
So please, let's just get this out of the way. Like, subscribe, and share, and do all the Facebook things. Join the coffee club for $1.99 a month. You get nothing but a cute little emoji. And you know what? Spend more than that on. You spend more than that on things like, oh look, I want these little green army men with the parachutes on them. Yeah, it's true. Dollar Tree stores still get his goat.
Yeah.
Anyway, do all that. Show us some love. So sprinkle some love on the like button.
Press the like button. All right.
Sprinkle some love. Hi, Galen and Scott.
Okay, so tonight I want to get into this. I want to hear some stories.
I won't have to say a darn word.
I know.
It's good because I'm kind of tired.
Yeah. So tonight we got all the way from New York City. No, not New York City. All the way from back east. I'll put it that way. Upstate New York. Because all my family's from Maine, so we know that area of the ish. So it's about the same for us. So tonight we got Jonathan Rafferty. Hi, Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, hello there, folks. How you doing, Hannah, Scott?
Good.
Good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, no problem. So we enjoy having you, and actually we're going to be cruising through your area in the springtime.
No, fantastic.
We're headed up to Maine.
Yeah, we have to cross right through New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd be headed right up. Well, all depends on how you get on up into Maine. You're gonna go up the coast?
No,
we're coming over from Wisconsin, so that way, kind of skirting Canada.
Okay, well, that's some nice country up there.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Very nice country.
All right. Hi to Don and Doug Morrison. Everybody in the chat, we need to give a round of applause for Doug Morrison, who has recently experienced the touch of divinity and sparing him from what could have been a fatal heart attack not too long ago. So good to see him with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So so he can keep on squatching out there.
That's right. Yeah. Keep on making cool stuff.
Yeah.
Into that.
He makes cool stuff. Yeah. Yes. So all right. So Jonathan, what got you into this crazy world of Bigfoot?
Yeah, no, fair enough. Good question. So I mean, Basically, I really didn't have any grand interest in this subject as a child. Yeah, I was into the Ranger Rick books. I loved the wildlife. I was a little hillbilly kid playing in the creeks and doing my thing, but Bigfoot just didn't come across my, plate at any given time, really. I probably stumbled across the Patterson Gimlin thing, but in one ear and out the other, didn't really catch me. And sometime late in 2019, I was just, I ride around running the business and I'm listening to YouTube, and you go on binges, certain subjects, and I was just getting bored, couldn't find nothing. And I don't know what made me think of it, or I don't know if one Bigfoot video popped up and caught my attention, but once I started watching them, I just kept watching them and watching them, and I was swept off my feet. I really I was like, you gotta be kidding me, is this for real? I got deeper and deeper into it, and it was very intriguing. And before you know it, I was going out into the woods and seeing if I could see the things that everybody else was talking about. And I had set up a YouTube channel for other reasons. I think in 2015, my buddy got worked over real bad by the cops, and I was pretty upset about that. We were just going to put it on social media and give him a piece of our mind, kind of thing, Stupid. So thinking I had that channel, I was like, well, jeepers. I'm like, I'm out here into the woods. I know my way around up here pretty good, and I'll try that out. And I started my first video. My quest for Sasquatch begins, and from there on out, it was just a learning experience up until today.
Wow. Yeah, it gets you a little bit at a time. So
It sure does.
yeah,
kind of grows on you.
Yeah.
Grows on you like a bit of a fungus. That was kind of my experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For myself, growing up in the Blue Mountains of Eastern Oregon, Bigfoot was a thing up there. Okay. Because you had Freeman.
Sure.
And
yeah.
Actually, some of the big researchers hung out there all the time when I was growing up. I remember Wes Summerlin, Jeff Meldrum, Grover Krantz, all those guys were hanging out up there all the time. And where I lived there was a little restaurant up in the woods, and it was called Tollgate store, and it was a little restaurant and stuff. And you'd go in there, and like I said, that was only like 15 miles from my house. So we used to go up there and go and get a burger every once in a while. You'd walk in there and Grover Krantz would be sitting in there eating a burger, stuff like
cool. Oh man, that would be so cool.
Yeah. And they had all their footprint cast out on the tables all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bickering with each other. It's pretty cool.
That would have caught my attention as a young yeah. Yeah. And with Whitehall just not being more than what?
Oh yeah.
Half an hour, 45 minutes, about 45 minute drive from my house right here. And even where I grew up just north of Lake George is even closer. I just don't recall ever having the Whitehall incident catch my attention to the point where it drew, interest. And that was what, 1976, right?
I think so.
1976 was
the Beast of Whitehall. Yep.
Yeah. The A-Bear Road incident.
A-Bear Road. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that documentary a dozen times. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So looking at the map, I know that the Bigfoot Mapping Project has tons of sightings in the Adirondacks area. That's a pretty big remote area, isn't it?
Yeah, the Adirondack Park is about 6 million acres, over 5,000 lakes and ponds, and it's not like a national park, be it that it's a state park. consists of micro preserves all over the place, where there's like a forest preserve here and Amy's Park up there, where there's different regulations for each individual area, but you have a civilian population with private property that is interwoven between all of the state land and parks throughout the entire Adirondacks. It's not just a park. So you have a healthy population of, summer homes, year-round families that have been here for, ages, old properties handed down from, through the family. And yeah, it's a vast area up and around Keene Valley, Mount Marcy. You get into the High Peaks region, and mid to northern Adirondacks, and you get some pretty good sized mountains up there. And there's a lot of territory. I think I looked up. I have a list of the 12 most remote areas in the Adirondacks, and I was a bit surprised, even though the Adirondacks are big and there's a lot of room. I was surprised that I think the most remote area, and don't quote me on this, I do have the information over here. I could, grab it up, but I'm pretty sure it was only about 12 or 13 miles that you could stand in a spot, and 12 to 13 miles in a circle around you, there is not even a walking trail or a dirt road. And outside of that, there's a lot of area up in the Adirondacks where you just have a lone dirt road that travels out and gets close to the area. And there's a lot of stretches out here that'll go on for, anywhere from 5 miles to, 7, 8, 10 miles in different directions through the mountains, where it's all very wild. It's beautiful. It really is a absolutely enchanting place.
Yeah, it is. One of the things that when we travel back east is that always, I don't want to sound rude, but it always cracks me up when people back east say, well, that mountain, I'm like, that mountain,
the hill,
we live.
That mountain kicked both of our asses.
Yeah. I mean, the house I grew up in is usually about 1,000 feet higher than most of the mountains back east, but because back I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, where we've got Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, and they're 10,000, 11,000 foot mountain peaks,
so twice as high as anything we have.
What makes those mountains different from the eastern mountains are switchbacks, which makes scaling them a whole hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, what's up with the people back east? There's no switchbacks on your mountains.
You just go up.
These
there's on our, I want to say it was our 23rd wedding anniversary. It was the first time we'd been to Maine. We spent our summer there, and we were gonna conquer Mount Katahdin.
That's a beautiful mountain.
It is beautiful. It was absolutely glorious, and I'm telling you what, it just laughed at us.
He couldn't get up it.
No. Well, she made it up. She made it up past the tree line, and then they were pretty cool. But there was a couple places where they had put in these like rebar rungs that they just had stabbed in the rocks to climb straight up, for just a few feet. That wasn't happening.
That's hardcore. I thought that you were driving up there. You tried to walk.
We were hiking it.
Hiking it.
Yeah.
We
wow, my hat's off to you there. That ain't no little baby mountain over there.
No, but I need to go back for the shirt that says Mount Katahdin kicked my ass. Because I will wear it with pride. Yeah. I will wear it with pride.
I have some nice film footage out of a little Cessna. Just, what was it? Not this past summer, maybe the summer before. Yeah, 2 summers ago. My son's 30th birthday present. I took him up past Mount Katahdin. I can't ever say it right, but we went up into a remote trout pond and camped out, dropped us off there for a week. And on our way up there, we flew right on by. We had the headphones on, and the guy was telling me all about the mountain and the area as we were going through. So that's some nice footage flying by that mountain. That's a big hill.
The indigenous folks there, and we've got the book with this somewhere in our cupboards, but they said it's inhabited by demons. And the tribes there don't go. Well, they don't go. And I said Mount Katahdin is a tough climb. You have the rebar traverse, but the knife edge up along.
Yeah, that knife edge.
There was no
way we're doing that knife edge.
And in fact, our cousins over there, when they heard that we were gonna climb the mountain, Denise about wet her pants, and she said, Scott, you cannot let Hannah go up there. She can't walk on a road without falling down. There's no way she's gonna go knife's edge and fall down.
Holy cow. Yeah, I might have to go try that out.
There's a couple different trails that get you to the top of the mountains, and one's called the Knife Edge Trail. When you get up to the top, it's like a balance beam walking on the peak. To get to the top, you have to go up this rock, and then they call it the knife's edge because you're walking on the peak of the rocks where they come together, and it's not very wide, and you gotta
they don't have a cable or anything.
No.
Safety, you're just gonna do it, huh? Get mangled up on that.
Yeah, the path of slightly less resistance was the one with the rebar. Okay. And we started at like 7 in the morning, I think, or 7 or 8 in the morning, and we didn't hit that until about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And then I started climbing it, and then this gust of wind hit me and knocked my hat off, and I said, nope, not doing it, because it's just gonna blow me down. But it is absolutely breathtaking, and just what nature has done there is brilliant. And I did not see any demons there, but I'll bet Bigfoot's there. I mean, I'm just saying, it's a perfect hideout for him.
There's a lot of territory up there. Maine has got a lot of room, a lot of good dark cover with the pine trees.
It's thick forest. Is the Adirondacks as thick as Maine? I think like Vermont and New Hampshire, it's probably about the same forest.
There's a lot of diversity to the Adirondacks in elevation. So Southern Adirondacks, I'm going to speak to you as far as the areas that I know.
Okay.
I have not stepped foot on every square inch of the Adirondacks. So in the Southern Adirondacks, you have a lot of white pine, mixed deciduous and conifers, a lot of aspen, poplar, low laid areas, and smaller rolling hills and some tiny mountains. As you get higher up into the elevation, start going up into Indian Lake, North River, start heading for Blue Mountain Lake, the topography changes. Some mountains are cut up a little bit steeper, start getting a little bit bigger, and you start getting into more of the evergreen, balsam spruce, and thicker. It grows, it's much more dense. And as you start to go higher in elevation from there, you start getting into the paper birch. White birch is mixed with the evergreens. And of course, you have all your oak and maple, all your hardwood, beech and such that's mixed up in and around with that. And you get up into Keene Valley and you look up on the mountains up there, and you see a lot of white birch, skinnier trees. And you don't see as much of the white pines that you see in Southern Adirondacks. Now, there are areas up north in and around, like I say, the Mount Newcomb, Indian Lake, Old Forge. Well, actually, Old Forge you think you're headed north, you get up into Blue Mountain Lake, and if you start to head towards Old Forge, you're actually starting to cut back west and starting to come a little further southwest, coming back out of the north, but it's still beautiful up in there. Outlet, there's a town called Inlet. But it's just like a whole nother world up there. Once you get to the top of North River Hill, when you drive on the dirt roads, and even if you're just going up Route 28, all those evergreens and the density that I saw when I went to Maine, that's what I would say, it would resemble the most, would be more central, north central Adirondacks would most resemble what I saw in Maine. Of course, I've only been in one spot in Maine and traveled from, New York to go up into Maine.
Mm-hmm. So where was that spot in Maine?
What's the name of that pond? Oh, that was a nice pond. I should know.
It was a pond.
Well, it was a nice pond.
There's about 8 billion ponds in Maine. Trust me. And there's one every.
Give me 1 second. I've got it right up here.
Yeah.
Right here it is.
Yeah. That's one of the things I noticed in the North Maine woods was you can't walk 100 yards without hitting a pond or a lake, and then another pond and another lake.
A stream and a rivulet.
Yeah, and they had a bunch of paperwork up there, and they said that pond that we were in was all native square-tailed brook trout, and that it was that there was the inlet or the outlet had waterfalls in a manner where no foreign fish could get upstream to get into the pond. They take very good care of that pond, and the literature, they were, it was evident they were very proud of it.
Yeah.
We were up in Millinocket.
Yes.
We flew in on Katadyn Air seaplane service.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I can't think of the name of that pond. It'll be right on here somewhere.
Oh my
Well,
God.
we know Millinocket like the back of our hands.
Yeah, we lived
Henderson Pond.
Henderson Pond. We used to live in Millinocket.
Yeah, well,
isn't that something? Small world. Huh?
We did just shy of 6 months, 2 years in a row. So we almost got grandfathered into being Maine residents.
Isn't that something? That's cool. It was beautiful up there.
Yeah.
Millinocket is, and in fact, I'm always on realtor.com looking at properties, anticipating a day, hopefully in the near future, where we have a landing pad to call home somewhere. And Millinocket is on the list. It's like, I know.
Really
so
nice.
During the winter, we just come back to Texas. Not a problem.
There you go. Yeah.
But,
make like the Canadian geese and fly south.
That's right. That's right.
Come back in the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I have
after mud season. Once mud season's over, then we go back.
We have a lot of friends and family in the Millinocket area, and then we got more family in Bangor. So.
Oh look, Doc Ock went to University of in Biddeford.
Biddeford, that's right up there too.
I think it's Interstate 1 that goes up north, like up into the Caribou area.
Highway 1.
Or Highway 1. And I love that stretch of highway where you go past all of the planets.
Oh yeah.
They
got a weird stretch up there where the university built like replicas of the planets in scaled down replicas, and then you drive the highway and it gives you an idea of how far each planet is from each other, because they're the distance between the planets on the highway,
like a scale distance. I don't know, and
cool.
I blame Maine and those freaking Amish and their snickeroos for completely ruining me.
Yeah.
But anyway, we should probably talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah, we probably should.
After
Yeah.
after our
We're gonna do a quick
break,
commercial and then we'll get into
yes.
to your sighting. How's that
Oh,
sound?
before we go, I have just one question. Tell me what the significance of the Sasquatch wizard is.
Okay, so it's derived from drywall wizard, and that's only because of me and my buddy Bert. We were over in Mount Snow, Vermont, working, and they nicknamed Bert Merlin, and they called me the wizard because we were very good at what we did.
Oh,
okay.
And that's drywall.
That's where it was born, and so then I had an email address was called Drywall Wizard, and on my my work helmet was Drywall Wizard. So when I got into the Bigfoot thing, I was like, what am I going to call myself? Okay, Sasquatch Wizard.
There we go. That's awesome.
Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. That was it. That's
so you were a drywaller.
Yes, sir. Still a drywaller.
Still wallet. Oh, cool.
Remember when you taught me to drywall?
Yeah.
It's all I've ever done.
Yeah. My dad growing up, my dad was a contractor, so I built houses. I'm pretty good at framing. I hate drywalling, so good on you.
Keeps me busy. Nobody likes to drywall.
He actually enjoys framing.
Yeah.
So,
I love working with wood too. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well,
so
what do we have?
We're going to have this message.
Imagine having high-speed internet no matter where you are. With Starlink, that dream is now reality. No more buffering, lag, or limited access. Starlink connects you to ultra-fast, reliable internet anywhere on Earth. From seamless streaming to intense gaming and productivity, Starlink empowers you to do it all. And here's the best part. Sign up using our exclusive link and get your first month free. Don't miss out on the future of internet. Click the link in our description to get started today. Starlink, revolutionizing internet, one connection at a time. Join now.
Bravo.
All right.
Very well done. Very well done.
Thank you.
That's some awesome equipment.
It is.
It is. It is.
Yeah, we enjoy it. In fact, you're watching us on Starlink right now.
We held out for a long time before actually making the investment, and it's like, what was wrong with us?
Yeah,
we should have just done this to begin with. But
plus, we live in our camper here, but we usually park the camper at RV parks and things like that because it's huge.
Sure.
It's 34 feet long. I can't drag that in the woods, but but we have our truck, which has a rooftop tent and all the stuff on it. And so we can actually take the Starlink with us and just plug it into the truck. So we got internet in the woods when we need it.
And now that we have an amazing Redodo lithium battery, Redodo, if you're listening, Anyway, we can run our Starlink for weeks off that one battery.
Yeah, and the solar panels on the truck and the batteries. So
excellent.
There we go. All right, so
let's get into the real reason why we're
yeah, the real reason. So you had a sighting, correct?
Well, I don't want to be a spoiler, but I don't consider it a sighting only because I am yet to be able to answer the question, what is it?
Right.
I sighted something. They look like faces.
Mm-hmm.
I have been up there once. It took me multiple times to find the exact location again. And once I've been up there 2-3 times doing experiments and taking measurements. And I have looked and researched and searched. I have been patient, waiting for something similar to come along that I can grab onto for some information. But as it stands, I am still not 100% sure what those things are. I will share with you one thing, that there was a time when I went up and took measurements where I was pretty confident that whatever it was, is their faces were no bigger than a baseball. But I spent all that time up there, and I had never gone 15, 20, 30 feet behind that location yet. I was so focused on every little twig and what was right there in the picture between the presumed faces and the lens of my camera. When I did go out behind that area, and I will show all this stuff in due time, there's these two huge rocks that have a V that come down with a little slot in the middle, where is the only spot in the trajectory of my filming that anything could be back there. The rest of it was all stones with tree lichen growing on the stones. And behind that, it drops right off about 7 or 8 feet to a flat plateau that just almost looks surreal, like somebody made a flat spot to stand back there. And I know that's not, it really blew me away. So when I went back there, I had taken an extendable paint pole. I spent some time, took a milk jug, put tons of markings all over it, measurements, and I used that and went back there and stuck it on the ground and propped it up to where I presume those, if they were faces of a living being, would be out behind them rocks. And well, let's just say that that's keeping me going. That's keeping me going.
Yeah, I totally understand. I totally respect that too. I come from archaeological background. That's what I did, anthropology and archaeology. But one of the things that I did when I had my sighting was the exact same thing. And since then, I carry a lot more stuff with me when I'm in the woods doing this. But one of the things that we utilized in archaeology a lot, or even in construction, is lasers. So I keep like a rifle laser, that you put on rifles, with me. Actually, I have it connected to my flashlight. so if I see something at night, like eye shine or something, I can shoot the laser at it, and on a tripod, shoot the laser where it was, and then I can go check out and see where my laser was. We had eye shine one night across the canyon from us, and I shot the laser over there where we saw the thing, and I climbed down the mountain and back up the other side. And then I was able to measure from the ground to where the laser was to where we saw the eye shine, which happened to be 8 feet at that point.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So one of the things that I did when I had my sighting is I stood where I stood with my camera in my hand, and then I put the laser where I was right through the opening. And then I was able to walk down to where I thought they were standing and put my pole up, and then I could measure that, how tall. And the juvenile that we had, that I had in my photo, was 6 foot tall. That was about where the top of his head was. So I was able to kind of accurate. Well, I had a bit of an advantage because it was a little swampy area. So it was like 200 feet to the tree line, but it was another 40 feet behind the tree line where they were standing. So
right on.
I see what you're saying.
Trajectory, and you can't see the topography. It's an illusion, and you think with that you got that depth perception, but it can be tricky.
It can be, until you get back there and start measuring stuff. The advantage I had is when we got down to where they were standing, they actually left footprints. So I actually got casts of the footprints.
There you
go. So I knew exactly where they were standing. So
I wish that I would have walked right down where those faces were when it happened. I kicked myself, but I guess sometimes you spend so much time out there seeing nothing, or seeing just like pareidolia, and then you move to the left, move to the right, or you start moving in on it, and you realize, oh, just another damn stump, just another combination of forest material lined up.
Exactly.
And I mean, when I saw it, I was like, what the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? But you see, it was such, like, if I remember correctly, it's been a little while since I looked at that. I want to say it was only like 2.5 seconds or something, or 1.5 seconds where they were actually, where my eyes caught those faces and I saw that. So I did see it when I was filming it. It wasn't something I had gone back through and caught it afterwards. I saw it on location. I spent some time there and everything, and I kept trying to film down in there, kept trying to see what was down in there. But I never walked all the way down there. I should have gone down off the mountain and went down there and looked for damn tracks. I'm really upset with myself I didn't. And then I had a hell of a time trying to find that spot again. I was so sure of where I was at. And I learned some lessons there. But
yeah, I have done that a lot with trail cameras. Like, I thought I put it on this tree. I know, damn it was right here, you know, and then I walk around for 10, 15 minutes in a circle and finally find it. And it's like, oh, it was that tree. You know?
Only 15 feet away, but
yeah.
And that's even using the Onyx where you mark it.
Yeah, I'm marking it with my GPS.
Yeah, that Onyx, I mean, that's really good getting you in the general direction, but unless I don't know the exact details on it. Like if you have 5G service, maybe it's more accurate. But I did notice that, when I tried to get back to something that I had marked off on Onyx, I could be 15, 20 feet away, or I could be looking like I'm standing right on it. And then I'll take 3 steps to the right, and my whole dot will go flying off, like 20 foot off, like it just figured out where I was at. I was like, oh, this isn't quite that precise, but still really good technology and great to have.
Yeah, it's handy.
So shall we get into the video?
So we can let's jump into the video part of it real quick here.
Yeah.
Now I got it scrubbed forward where you're talking about eye blinking and stuff, and just holler at me and we can pause it anytime, and you can explain it a little better. Okay. So let's see.
It's this one.
I know. I gotta push this button. Okay. There we go.
And of course, this is a video of a video.
Darkness here is the hair over top of the face of this one. Is you can definitely see darkness in and around it, and there is there is some stuff like, what is this right here? And it's all dark in there.
Yeah, I wish I had done a video with mine. I just got a photo.
Yeah, I frame by frame. My system actually failed on me, and I had to set up my iPhone on a gimbal. See that? To record. Watch this little one's eye. Can I get any closer to that without it getting blurry? All right. Back up. 2 frames back. Now let's go forward. 1, 2. It's squinting. And open. There it is, right there.
I see that.
Open. Shut. That is an eye blink. Hey, can you pause that for a second? And it was at that time. Okay. So this is an excellent example of why so making a long story short. I was learning so rapidly that, and also surrounding myself with people that I respected and trusted and that I knew had their heads screwed on straight and weren't just out there to dazzle everybody with anything. And they were digging in and looking for the truth. Okay, so I started to make this transition to where I wanted to be a little more patient and be sure about what it is that I was presenting. Here's an example why I'm glad that I didn't dive right in and say, well, you know, that's absolutely eye blinking and mouth movement, and I haven't proved it away. But I will ask you folks, and Scott, Hannah, you guys have seen some stuff. You have experience with cameras. And let me ask you, when the mouth and the eyes appear to move, is everything else in the picture, or all the other pixels in the picture, also moving?
No, they shouldn't be. Yeah.
Because I was wondering if the movement was from
the camera movement,
the camera pixels shifting frame per frame. I haven't proved it, but I'm asking a question to prove it away.
Right. So if you're going frame by frame, if that eye is closing and opening, but you're not seeing any other pixel movement from any of the other trees or anything around it, if they're staying the same, then it's a blinking eye. So, and
this is a fantastic Gordon, Pappy Two Bears, as he's commonly known as, but my pal Gordon. This is one of the reasons why any kind of photo or video capture is so difficult, because it says the multiple layers they hide behind makes any capture really difficult. And that is one of the reasons. I mean, the Patterson film was such a freaking anomaly. I mean, that was just like, you know, a freak of not nature, but a freak of nature. And this is going to be far more consistent with what people capture. Is this? I just don't know about that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And another thing about it is too, is you got the two faces, and I have this is my one of my theories. Now, it's not fact, but it's a theory that I think 90% of the sightings that we do have in the woods are juveniles messing up and the adults having to fix it. So
I share that thought with you. I share that opinion. Sure.
So when you do happen to see one, most of the time it's going to be a juvenile.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you know, I've given that thought many a times. It makes perfect sense. I mean, as parents and having children, the parents are more level-headed, cautious, and overseeing the situation with a level head. The children are, pardon my language, but pissing in the wind, running all over the place, having a hell of a time. They're apt to get in trouble and get caught with the hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Which makes them not too much different from our own juvenile offspring that we would just like to choke most of the time.
Right. And they're probably curious. So I want to see the human, Mom, you know, that sort of thing.
That's what the faces, so many times that I've sat and watched this and thought about everything that had happened there. I had actually not walked right directly over that exact spot, but within 30, 40 foot of where those faces appear in this photo, I had just come up the mountain, which I could hypothesize that they were following me up the mountain. It was a sunny day. I was headed up the mountain. There was a good breeze going on that day. I mean, it wasn't windy, like crazy windy, but just your regular everyday sunny, breezy day. A lot of ambient noise. So, you know, I mean, I couldn't necessarily, it wasn't early in the morning or in the evening where I could hear something walking behind me or in and around me, 30, 40 yards. I will say that What ends up intriguing me more than those two faces, I don't know if you've seen this yet or you heard me talk about it in this video, but later on, I see what appears to be an entire gray forehead with wrinkly hair and a big dark eye that's just to, which would be looking at this picture, will be to the left about center. I can't tell you exactly where in that video where that is at, but if you get a chance to look at it, you'll hear me talk about it. And when I went down there to reinvestigate every twig and branch, rock, everything that was down there, and I found the exact spot where I filmed from, lined it up picture to picture, leaned up against the same exact tree with my foot on the rock, found the area. That gray, there is nothing down there. There's not an old rotten stump. There's no rock. There's no nothing. Whatever that was down there, whether it was gray or not, I don't know. But that object is not there. Was not there when I went back. And you can see it clearly in the footage. There's two of these clips on my channel, one of which, if I can remember correctly, one of which is clean SD card in the computer on the editing software, and then I was editing the video and it would get up to a certain point and the whole thing would shut down and I couldn't finish it. So I ended up setting up my cell phone on a stand aimed at this footage and completed a video to post online. And I ended up posting both of them. I'm trying to remember it. Don't quote me on all. There's two separate videos and both of them are the same subject. But one of them should be clean. You know what? I can look right here.
Okay.
I can look right here.
Gordon has got such great things to say here. Because you have to train your hunter eyes to look for pieces of what you're looking for. An eye, an ear, a glint of color, unusual patterns. And, and I got to say, if anyone in the room is waiting for something like Patterson Gimlin, you're going to be waiting until you've been reincarnated 16 times. Because it ain't going to happen. That was such an anomaly.
Yeah.
That cannot be the standard for anything. It just can't. And I agree with what Doc Ock said. That's why she was so clear. Those two and their crew must have stumbled right onto a nest of young.
Right.
I mean, they and even Bob said that there were other tracks there.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the channel, one of the videos is 28 minutes, 53 seconds, and it has 556 views. And so that was the second one that I put up, which would mean that the first one I put up was the one that failed. And I think in that it's 22 minutes, 57 seconds, covering the same footage. Something happened on the movie editing software where the whole thing just stopped and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I wanted to complete what it is that I had started, and I switched over and tried it a different way. When you get some time on your own, I think that that second one has some very clear footage of those faces.
Okay.
Cool. Then you'll be able to see that forehead and the eye.
Okay.
It's quite intriguing. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll take a look at it and maybe throw it in my editing program, see what I can do with it.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great.
So
that is one. I'm a little weak in that area. I never really and I never took my videos and put them on Photoshop and all that stuff and tried to do anything to them, because early on I was a little nervous about, well, if I have some footage and I go putting it on Photoshop or trying to do anything to it, it's all going to be fake anyway. I mean, just leave it the way it is and just have it raw. So I always made sure I kept the SD card, and I was like, I don't want to screw nothing up.
Yeah.
You know, I suppose you could take one copy of it and go shred it, as long as you didn't beef it all up, make it look like something it isn't, and then give it to the
that's
public.
what I do. I always keep my originals. Yep.
You know. Yeah, I'd appreciate that, Scott.
Okay.
Got 10 minutes.
Okay.
We of course can go over.
Yeah.
But
so, well, that's cool. Yeah, and one of the, another thing is that they do stay behind many layers in these dense forests. It's tough to get clear pictures of anything. I meant, like something you mentioned earlier. I meant when I took my photo of one, I saw him in that opening
200 feet down.
Yeah, it was 200 feet away, and
down.
I had 3 seconds before they were gone. I got one photo. Well, actually, I took like 3 photos. So I got the photo of them in the first shot, and then I got 2 other shots with them not being there. I would just click, click, click.
And they're just as valuable as the ones that you caught them there.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, very, very, very valuable.
Just the ability to go back and say, those aren't there. Here they're there. They're not there. And so,
and look at the timestamp. This is 2 seconds after that one. So
whether or not you can explain exactly what the being is, having the proof that it was something and it was alive and it moved, and you got a picture of them with them there, and a picture of them with nothing there. That's
and the only thing I wish I could have captured was the smell, because we actually had the smell thing with my sighting. I smelt them before I saw them.
What did it smell like, Scott?
Wet dog and garbage and onions. I don't know.
I think it's a very sour smell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like your 14-year-old boy who hasn't showered in a week.
Yeah, which is my theory, that it's teenage boy Bigfoot that smell like that. That's my thought. Okay. But
Well, I'll share a little story with you that matches up with that smell. I was up in research area too. I was actually right where Jen and Mr. and Mrs. Trackway had spent a handful of days and camping in the pouring torrential rain with me. Well, a year or so prior to that, I was there that night. I didn't feel like hiking all the way in, bringing all my camping gear in, because I got there late, decided to stay right there at the truck. Built small little tiny fire, sat there in my chair, had my gear out. It wasn't wind. It was only the difference between the warm and cool air in the mountains that created a draft coming off the hill. And when that smell hit me, it was just as you spoke. It was wet, nasty dog.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly before or after that, something caught my attention. I got up, walked around the front of my truck, and I had my thermal, and aiming back towards the dirt road in this little patch of woods, I was able not to catch it on video, but I was able to catch something that was very low to the ground. At that distance, I would say it was about the same size as me if I was to be right on my belly, and it went straight kind of the right and dashed to the left, and it stayed right tight to the ground. I do not know what kind of animal that was. I could not find anything that said it was a Bigfoot track, but I couldn't find any tracks of any other animals down there either. All I could see is where the leaves had gotten all slashed up. I think I made a gesture at one time in a video and said, well, it smelled like wet dog. Guess it's wet dog. And that's all I got. I mean, I can't do anything other than that. But as we experiment and as we, travel through this adventure and, smells and sights, you have to take them all into consideration, because until we get a type specimen and actually study the anatomy of these, or somebody like Jane Goodall that studied the gorillas and chimpanzees can go out there and study a Sasquatch like this, all we can do is collect all this information, record it properly, take good care of it, and share our experiences together to create better hypotheses.
Yep, absolutely.
And that is called qualitative research.
Qualitative research. That's one of the things that we're into. Yeah. So Thomas said the spider crawl, and I've heard that before. Them
That's
crawling
just
on the ground.
what it looked like too.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I was like, why would a dog do that? I mean, it was so wide. Like, I don't even know why a coyote would do it. The only thing I thought, maybe a fisher or something, more, but there was I've watched fishers. It just didn't make sense. It really looked like a human being flat on the ground that just went boom, boom, and went right behind over that bank, right behind that rock, and it was gone.
Yeah, Lisa, it was an Army Ranger, so you got to be.
I'm sure they were wondering what the hell I was doing up there. This guy up there with bear spray and Danny Boone knife and cameras all over him. Living up in there for a while. Yeah, maybe they did send somebody up there to find out what that crazy Rafferty's doing now.
Yeah.
Because that makes as much sense as there's a Bigfoot out there, right?
So one of the things Raptor said earlier said we need to invest in cameras. Dude, you have no idea.
You need to go review all of our videos on camera assessments and why they don't work.
Yeah. So I took my photo with a 35 millimeter Canon T6 4K camera.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah. So it's just what I said is I had 3 seconds to take that photo, and the camera focused on the autofocus focused on the limbs in front of not the 40 feet behind them where they were actually standing. And so that's why I got my blurry picture.
But that's still really good. And to be able to pull what you pulled out of that and going into editing and pull that image out, that's the fruits of a good camera with a good sensor. Yeah. I mean, I had a Canon Vixa WH10, I think is what it's called. I mean, it was a decent camera and it looked really good when it was brand new. It's got some mechanical troubles, a lot of noise in the recording, zooming in, zooming out. But I mean, technology is moving forward so fast that some of the stuff they have nowadays just blows anything I have away. And the reason why I didn't get that image on my thermal with video is because I made a huge mistake when I bought my FLIR LSX. I read it. I was in a hurry. It said that it did video and pictures. And I had a FLIR Scout that recorded by the push of a button video. So I just assumed it did. And when I got it, I realized you had to hook an extra cable to it and all this other apparatus. And I really boned myself there bad. So I actually was able to see a lot with this FLIR. It's a decent thermal camera. But in order to record anything, I have to hold my iPhone up to it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work, especially with a moving object. So I failed you. But I haven't got the money yet to get a new thermal camera that records video like the Pulsar XP50 Pro or something like that, or some of the stuff that Trackway is picked up and he and Deb have been using. And he's got some nice thermal imaging, some good recording equipment. I got to re-up.
Hey, I like what Trackway says here. He says the higher the HD, the less the battery lives. So
yeah, exactly.
your batteries always go dead. You have reached the height of success. You got the best equipment.
Yeah. Well,
which is the worst performing in the field.
What's really crazy is this here takes better pictures than my Canon does.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
but they're not built to take pictures for a long time, though. I mean, they overheat. They don't have big sensors in them. They do a great job for close in, and they are doing a way better job than they did 2-3 years ago on distance. They're absolutely amazing. They really are. But I think I'd still take a full body camera.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna shoot long distances for a long period of time, I think I'd still want a good.
Yeah, I'm saving up for the $4,000 DJI thermal drone. So
nice.
Share a small community with that.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if we can ever get to the point in our Bigfoot career where people are accusing us of doing this for the money, we might be able to afford it.
There's no money in Bigfoot.
No, there's
not a freaking dime.
Unless you're willing to bullshit everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People always say, "Hey, dude, you're making all that money with your YouTube channel." I'm like, dude. Yeah, I say I make roughly $80 a month on YouTube, and my StreamYard costs me $80 a month. So that's
breaking even.
Breaking even. Yep.
Grab some more peanut butter and jelly and another loaf of bread. Get through another week.
Yeah.
God bless you. You guys do such a fantastic job. I mean, I really think over a period of time, I mean, your work's going to be legendary. I mean, you got it all going on. You guys are great folks. You got the American thing going on, and you're out traveling around the USA doing what everybody would die to be doing right now. So God bless you guys. You guys are awesome, man.
Thank you.
And I think your YouTube your YouTube channel and your videos are going to go on for a long time. Yeah, okay. I think we'll do real well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Maybe the videos will be worth more than the monetization. Here, I've got this SD card full of YouTube videos. I will trade you.
Yeah.
I will trade you
for a drone. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh, well, hey,
real quick, I would like to thank Nikki Cologne from Sasquatch Secrets.
Yes.
She's
recommending me to come on to your show.
Oh, okay.
And speaking highly of me. And I would also like to thank Jen for notifying me one evening and said, "Hey, the folks were talking about you over there. I think they want to connect with you." And, so thank you, Jen. Thank you, Nikki. And thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Trackway and Brent Dill and Thomas Steenberg and Jerry Matthews and the crew up there, and Leon. And, oh, man, I don't want to forget anybody, but, all these friends and folks and you folks and just all these great, wonderful people that I've been able to spend time with and speak with and become friends with. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all. Have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas to everybody too.
We are so full of gratitude because honestly, and it is the people we have met along the way and the community that is being built, not just around Squatch America, but about the real people, the real
Bigfoot community.
And the real Bigfoot community has nothing to do with TV.
Yeah.
You got Matt Larson, Brian and Chewy and Alex Petikoff and
Oh, I like Alex.
Yeah,
he's a sharp individual.
It's the real people.
Matt's really good with the camera stuff. Matt Larson.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully he gets back into it. He was just on Nikki's show. We were visiting there the other night, and he brings a lot of talent with that camera to the.
That's awesome.
yeah, if you ever get a chance to chew the fat with him, man, he's pretty slick with the cameras and focusing and 70 millimeter this and how to do that. He's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Me, I just kind of point it that way and turn it on. That's what I do with. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
I've learned quite a bit, a lot more than I ever knew, but nothing like you know, the pros.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I think we're at that time. We're over that time.
So I threw your channel in the chat. So folks, if you want to go check out these videos and stuff, you can go click on those.
Then go ahead and click on them, analyze them yourself. You know how to get a hold of us. Send your feedback our way.
You can send your feedback on his
videos.
Yes. Yeah. So
absolutely. What is our favorite phrase?
Merry Christmas.
No,
We're going to be gone
not
for the next 2 weeks, by the way,
yes,
guys.
we will be gone for the next 2 weeks. I will be sending out a Christmas email next week, so watch for that. But what is it? It was interesting but not conclusive.
Yeah,
that's everything in the Bigfoot world.
Interesting but not conclusive. That's one of my favorite sayings. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're doing the right work and you're asking all the right questions, doing all the right things. And of course, the first right thing is, how do I prove myself wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I prove it not what I think it might be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Occam's razor kicks in. When you have written off everything possible, then you go to the impossible.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. There's something left standing at the end. There's a good chance it's worth holding on to.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So thank you so much, Jonathan, for being with us tonight.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great. So go to his channel, folks, and
sprinkle some love on his channel.
Yeah. So as always, remember, folks, our job
is to investigate the unexplained,
not to explain the uninvestigated.
So one more time, like, subscribe, and share, and do all the YouTube things. Sprinkle some love on our channel, and have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas season. Until we see you again, you keep watching.
We'll keep squatching.
Now,
go out and find Bigfoot.
That damn Sasquatch.